Hey guys, welcome back. Drinks and Dragons. We're back again with another wonderful episode. We have a lot to talk about today. A lot of fun stuff that's happened over the weeks. A lot of I don't I don't think any unfun stuff. So you know what? It's only positives from here. Jay, welcome back.
Howdy. It's good to be back. I'm here every week, and I'll be here every week.
Do you come here often?
Uh,
Uh,
Often enough.
um, Before we jump into our talking points and the fun stuff, I guess this is fun because alcohol. But what are we drinking?
Personally, I'm just drinking some barefoot rosé wine, honestly.
The cheap of
Keeping
the
it
cheap.
simple.
Cheap
The
of the
cheap of the
cheap.
cheap for real. It's all
I'm
we have
drink.
left in the fridge.
I'm drinking the caramel apple fandango that we were drinking last week. Oh, good noise.
Sweet caramel apple, uh, you know,
Ooh, I forgot how
sour
sweet
beer.
it is.
It's real sweet.
Oh, hang on. Time out. Give me a sec. Oh. All right, we're good. All right, well, now that we got, the good stuff out of the way. No. Now that we got that out of the way, we had a lot of interesting stuff happen in the past week, mainly to do with Renfest, Renaissance
Yes.
Festival. We
Very
went
fun.
earlier this week. Went for a good couple hours. A lot of us got sunburnt because it was very hot. um, but it was fun. I don't know. Like I know you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a
You
good time. Yeah, it was 87 degrees out, and I'm in full black garbs, being my little. I think I was like an elf assassin, but not elf because I didn't even bring my ears. So let's say like moon assassin because I had like star and moon makeup on. So, but we went with a crap ton of friends, so it was
hmm
super duper fun. We watched jousting and hung around. I spent a lot of money, a
a
lot of
lot of
money,
money.
worth it. Um,
You
but
spent
yeah,
most of your money on the Skyrim
I,
shields.
Yeah, so there's a company. It is Twisted Thistle Trading Company.
I
They
will
are
try.
honestly super.
Oh, sorry. Go
What?
ahead.
No, you're good. They're super sweet company. Super sweet people that work there, and they make these like hand painted shields of all sorts of kinds. And so I decided to ask if I could get the entire Skyrim set rather than because last year I had bought the Riften shield specifically
hmm
because I was like, oh, they don't have the whole set. I'll just buy one. And so I got a bit more money this time around and decided to buy the whole set. So it was honestly for the price very worth it. They're very nice. So I'm happy to do it. Not again, oh boy. But yeah, those shields should be coming in towards the end of the Renfest season. So I'm excited for that.
I was gonna say, honestly, we'll try and leave a link in the description of who they are because I only interacted with them once, and it wasn't even this year; it was last year. Um, but they were cool people from what I remember. So, I mean,
Yeah.
um, would love to. But other than spending a lot of money at it, what were some other fun stuff that happened? I mean, we talked about jousting. We went to there's three jousting events that go on throughout the day. We went to two of them. We could have went to the third, but at that point we were kind of tapped out because of how hot it
Yeah, we
was.
were we were
Um,
boiling.
but honestly, it was so fun because it was like I don't. It was such a story. Like they kind of made it a story. Like the first jousting was like, oh yeah, this is jousting. Then the second one, a big fight broke out between the jousting because some guy wanted to draw blood or whatever.
Yeah,
Obviously,
the classic role play, like, oh,
classic,
rile up the
yeah.
crowd. We want to see blood, blah blah blah. Fight to the
Um,
death, even though obviously it's all staged for the viewers. We did not witness any
Stage,
murder or near murder today.
allegedly.
Or today? This week. We didn't do this
I was
today.
gonna say it definitely wasn't today.
No, God.
Um, but I know the group got kind of separated for a little bit because we were doing our own thing. But myself, my girlfriend, and two of our other friends went to some circus, haywire circus, something like that. Um, she was super like it was a one person circus, super funny, super enjoyable. Um, it was actually really funny because I was able to. She asked for volunteers, and I was one of the volunteers, so I just stood up there, and she was like, "All right, I want you to throw this ball into the hat." I did it first try, and she's like, "Yes, I can tell you didn't go to public school." And I was just like,
what?
I was just like, okay. But
Good
she was cool.
job.
She stood on this giant ball that she'd balanced herself on and started juggling on top of it. Did some wire tightrope walking. And if you guys don't know, and I don't know if you know, Jay, wire tightrope walking is painful because the wire obviously isn't just smooth. It has little notches in them, or not notches, but it's not smooth, right? You can get your foot or your hands caught in it. So she was tight roping across. She slid. She did it blindfolded. She moonwalked on it, which I thought was really funny. She was super cool. I almost lost my voice just at that because she was like, "Oh, the more you cheer, the better I do." So I was like, "We'll test this theory." But yeah, I don't. Other than that, we kind of just walked around and just kind of was looking at stuff. Um, saw Jack Sparrow. Uh,
Yeah, that was a very fun little Jack Sparrow. He was interesting and awkward.
Because
Felt like he was a little inebriated the entire time, but
probably. Oh, most definitely.
and as he quoted, he traded his jar of dirt for 2 bottles of rum.
Yeah,
because
he was walking around with
only one.
He was walking around with a jar of dirt. I don't know if you ever saw that, but we saw it.
Yeah.
He was walking around with a jar of dirt, and I remember I was in line for the bathroom, and he walked by me, and I was like, "Is that jar of dirt mine?" And he went, "No, it's my jar of dirt." I went, but I swear that's mine. He's like, "It's my jar of dirt," and he started doing the Jack Sparrow run, and I was like, "This is great. This is comedy, fucking gold." Like, and then we saw him later, and he didn't have the jar of dirt. Instead, he was walking around with 2 bottles of obviously, presumably rum, but he was just walking around with 2 bottles of rum, and I was like, "What happened to jar of dirt?" And he goes, "I have rum now."
Yeah, I pulled him over. He was walking away, and I was like, I did the same thing, because I didn't realize you were over there. But I asked him about where his jar of dirt was. He's like, "I sold it for 2 bottles of rum," and I'm like, "Well, where's the other bottle?" Ah, that was 2 hours ago.
That was 2 hours ago. I
found him later having half a bottle of rum. So, and I was like, "Is that all you have left?" He's like, "No, I got 2 more bottles before."
See, as people who cosplay like
the
that,
rum isn't always gone, but
people who cosplay like that and like really go for it are some of the most fun cosplays to actually interact with. Obviously, you know, there's stands at Renfest and stuff, so you walk by stands and they're like heckling at you to come try stuff. Obviously, you know, classic, but we were walking by. You still weren't with us, but we walked by where you could joust your friends. You pay like $5 for like 5 minutes or something like that, or whatever it was. But the guy like kind of steps out a little bit and is like, "Do you want to do some violence today? Maybe hit your friends?" And I go, "I already hit my friend." I pointed at Levi. I was like, "I already hit him." It was funny. It was just, I love hearing heckling. Like, obviously it's a business like move because they, you know, want people to be attracted, but sometimes they say the funniest things.
Man, it gets distracted, right? That's the whole point.
Exactly. Oh, do you remember the Irish guy? The guy that
that was lovely.
he was saying some of the most outlandish stuff that I will not repeat. Just for maybe younger people's ears.
Well, us.
But he was saying some funny stuff. I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god, that was so funny. I don't know what it is about a man in a kilt just saying odd stuff, but that's what it was.
Bless me. Whew.
Um,
Yeah, I'm allergic
but
to men in kilts.
that's a lie. Anyways,
I don't know. I was sneezing quite a bit around the guys with kilts yesterday. Yesterday? Yesterday?
yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Um,
Time is an illusion. It's not real.
but yeah, I don't know if you had any other Renfest experience, but
My archery was really bad. I almost broke my hand. I punched myself in the face.
oh my gosh. So
I could not figure it out. It was really bad.
I loved watching it. All three of you struggle because I used to do archery in high school just as a fun hobby.
Never did it before. I was like, what?
So I did it. I did it for 3 years. It was super fun. I used to do it with like a 70-pound compound bow, which I don't know if you guys know what it is or if you know what it is, but it's basically you have 70 pounds on the drawstring that you have to pull back. So it's difficult, and I mainly used it for hunting, but just watching watching all of my friends struggle in archery it was so
pathetic.
funny.
It took so long for me to do literally anything.
The other two figured out pretty quickly, and you were still there with like a good bit of arrows. Like, I don't know what
I
I'm
was like
doing.
trying to take my time. I hit the target approximately 4 out of the 7 arrows, but one of them went straight up. I don't know what happened. It almost got stuck on the roof.
Oh my gosh. That guy running the stand, by the way, or like was teaching, he just had a constant like, I don't know if it was like a bad day or if he just resting bitch.
No,
face
he
or
was
something.
so rude. I was like, I'm sorry, bro. We're having fun here. I literally asked, just like, do you have an Elven name? He's just like, Ben. I was like, all right, Ben.
Sounds good, Ben.
Heard.
He probably didn't want to be there.
Honestly, he probably been there all day. He started boiling.
Oh,
He's so tired of that cosplay. He's
I
just
mean,
exhausted and hot and sweaty.
For us, they opened at what, 10? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how long the stand had started, but yeah.
So 10 to, I think we got there at 3:30. No, because we were jousting. So it's like 4. No, it was before jousting. So I'd say 2 something. So I guess 4 hours. Yeah, I could see it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Renfest is always a good time. I would love to go back again, but
I'm going back later this year, probably pick up those shields. So
yeah, picking up the shields. Which what are you doing with them? Are you hanging them up, or are you gonna?
Yeah, they're gonna get wall mounted and everything.
Okay.
And I'm getting them specifically with sword cutouts, so I could put swords in the shields.
Oh, now you gotta buy individual swords for them too. Oh,
yeah,
that'll be fun. Actually,
yeah,
you could probably buy cheap swords on Amazon for cheap. But all right, well, enough of us yapping about Renfest, because I mean, it was really just us walking around looking at cool stuff. Campaigns. So we had campaigned last Tuesday, with the other campaign, not the one I run, the Levi's one. All I remember from that campaign personally was me rolling like shit. So I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, so basically what happened is, so from last session, for those that remember, we immediately ended session with the king. Oh my god, the king's dead.
Oh yeah.
And of course we're like, oh, we should go back and investigate, whatever. And of course, immediately, I'm like, my character's like saying, well, that ain't a good idea. They're gonna think it's blaming on us. The region ain't nice either. So of course, we get there. We're like, oh, we should sneak in or whatever. They immediately try to arrest us, saying that we killed the king, and I'm like, of course that happens. I literally called it. So one of the players goes off, tries to sneak some information, whatnot, while we're battling the guards, and then eventually we get to a point where we have to pretend to surrender because they have a double agent going on. Or like I guess a spy, which is a person that we've been like Jill, who's like this knight that was assigned to us by Reginald, the mayor of the town we started the campaign in. And she was, our escort, not in that type of way.
There you go.
But traveling to the city, and she, I guess, is trying to find information on replacing this false king that killed the previous king,
Mhm.
with a son of the empress of your kingdom.
Yes. Yep.
Something
Yep.
related,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot. But yeah, so we got arrested, went to jail, broke out, and got some cool weapons. We got Dragon Slayer for Aegon.
Oh, I still
So
need
which
to
is
put
pretty
that in.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the glimmering moonbow for Sylvia, my character. She, is now get to ride her Fey Cougar Lion combo thing with a glimmering moonbow. So, but we leveled up to level 4. I picked up the Shadow Touched feat. Um, so I've got some fun plans with Shadow Touch. Specifically, I theme it as like moonlight, right? Think about like dusk and whatever, that kind of
Yeah.
concept, right? Because I'm a moon character. But mostly because the wording for invisibility is invites some fun, how should I put it, interactions. But
Yeah.
you guys will find that out next time. Um, next time we talk about it in our next session. But
Next. Oh,
yeah,
I was gonna say next week, but not even next week. Next week.
Yeah, because it's next week. So episode 7 for those listening in.
So, Jay, what happened to my campaign?
So
Nothing happened, by the way.
literally nothing happened.
I ended up canceling it because we did have a player that was going to be missing, and then the rest of my party, the rest of the group, was at Renfest. And after Renfest, we were all exhausted, so I made the decision of just being like, "Hey, you know what? Let's just reconvene in 2 weeks. It's okay. It's not the end of the world because no one will be missing anything, but." It had sucked because I was very much being like, all right, like before Renfest, I was like, all right, I can do session, I can do it, we'll be okay. And then I got home and I was like, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm so tired. But it is what it is. It's not the end of the world of.
I mean, there's always next week, right? We don't have any overlapping sessions, so it's not like we have to wait a crap ton of time.
True, that is true. But yeah. Other than that, I think we can jump into what we got in the title or on the screen. Divine Smite.
Yeah.
What is Divine Smite? Who holds that? Paladin.
Paladin. You probably got
Paladin.
this in the title of the video.
What
yeah,
happened
there's been
Paladin?
quite a few Paladin changes. I think from the perspective of what a lot of people are worried about with, what's happening to Divine Smite and, what is happening to all the Paladin auras and what's going on with all that. There's a lot. There's quite a bit to get through here, so this is going to be a pretty lengthy explanation here. We're going to do our best to break it down in a way that is easy for you to understand from
Easy to
listening.
digest.
Yeah, especially easy to digest. There's quite a bit, and as we know, just following the theme of the other 2024 class changes, there is now only 4 subclasses for the Paladin.
Boo!
Boo! Yeah, everyone's gonna boo, whatever. You get it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good changes still. I don't think they're all poor. I think the big one that everyone's sad about is obviously some of the Smite changes, but we'll get into that in a second.
Speaking of Paladin, I think you've never played a Paladin, or you might have played one, and I've.
Well, we're playing a Paladin in that Baldur's Gate run, so.
True. But I'm playing my first Paladin in Levi's campaign, so This is kind of not near and dear to our hearts, but it's definitely a thing that we're starting to get into, and now it's being changed, and now we can be angry from that, or happy. Well, no, probably angry, but. All right, so let's start with the very first thing that I can see is Lay on Hands. It is now a bonus action, which is pretty cool.
Yes,
and now can be used on
It's a bonus action heal.
Mm-hmm. It can be used on constructs and undead now.
Yep.
So
not something that really came up a lot, but like for say characters that may have been playing like a Dampier, for instance, a lot of times they were considered a partial undead, and they couldn't. A lot of people would assume they couldn't be healed by those type of instances, or for, technically Warforged on constructs that are affected by it, but like maybe your Steel Defender for Artificers could be healed by something like this, or otherwise, like a lot of the actual constructs can be healed. Not like it came up a lot, but it's a nice quality of life. Bonus action thing I'm actually happy about, because that's really good. You can attack and then bonus action. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of simplistic, like nothing crazy changing on that.
I think it's also pretty cool. Land hands can now remove poison condition.
Yeah, I think what was it before? I actually don't. Here, let me find that out.
I thought it was just a heal.
It also removed disease, I think, but disease has been a depreciated mechanic for a long time. I know of any, like, I've never heard of anyone actually talking about diseases in their thing. Yes. Specifically, it is a good clarification because it did neutralize poisons, but it did not remove the poisoned condition, which is weird.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, you cure a target of a disease or neutralize a poison affecting it, right? But, of course, it doesn't make as much sense when the poison condition can occur from, well, not poison.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's just a good clarification that it removes that, especially with poison condition coming up more than just neutralizing a poison, quote-unquote. So, yeah, the poison condition is detrimental, as we know, but often it comes from creatures that it's like a constitution save, and everyone has relatively decent con, should have decent con.
Should.
So
you know what? Do you want to grade these grade them like A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, F? Because I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can grade them from a particular situation of, well, compared to Paladin now, or we compare. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, Lay on Hands gets a solid A. Great.
You're just buffing it.
You're just buffing it. The only there's nothing change. Everything's good. Great. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Spellcasting is level 1, so that's pretty easy. It follows the Ranger, as we talked about, that these half casters are getting their spellcasting at first level. Artificers already got it, but they were later class additions. So it does make sense that we're adding any character that does have spellcasting, both either full caster or half caster. Not including tertiary casters that get magic from subclass specifics, but those that actually have magic as a core part of the class get it at level 1 regardless. So, I mean, again, that's gonna be great. You can't really complain about getting a little bit of extra spellcasting earlier.
Especially at level 1, and you get fixed amount, which you don't have to dump a bunch of points into being able to have those spells prepared, so that's pretty good. Weapon mastery. So we're saying A on the spellcasting.
A little bit, yeah, A on spellcasting. Okay. I would say.
I agree. Weapon mastery. You can choose 2 weapons you're proficient with. You can gain,
which is all weapons in Paladin.
Of their mastery properties, and you may change your chosen weapons each long rest.
Yeah. So if you feel like adapting your weapon, it goes into the Ranger's idea as well. Like, that weapon mastery comes at level 1. You have options. Like, again, if you're like a sword and board paladin, classic shield and longsword, the sap probably does quite well.
Right.
Another specification is initially it was confused with the idea that it would be the sap master property terminology was that it specifies that the target has disadvantage on its next attack roll, not attack before your next turn or otherwise. So attack roll here. It's a weird clarification because it used to be just attack, which it's weird because you could assume attack could be something that doesn't include advantage or disadvantage.
Right.
So max attack roll specifications, because we all talk about saving throws versus attack rolls and so on and so forth. But
I mean,
I think longsword's fine. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I think longsword this is probably pretty good for a paladin.
Yeah. I think mine and Levi's campaign is a great sword as well.
Yes. Oh, the Dragon Slayer is a longsword.
It's a longsword. Oh, right.
I believe it is. Yeah.
I mean,
in your old campaign, it was a great sword, but
yeah, weapon mastery, having it at level 1 is just nice. I mean,
that's a little bit of extra stuff you can do.
Yeah, We thinking same thing, A?
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't complain about new things.
Yeah, especially having them at level 1 too. Like any
Exactly.
campaign that you start, you're gonna have it. Whether it be level 1 starting, level 5 starting, level 20 starting, which would be really funny. But all right, let's go into fighting style. Fighting styles are now feats, and some have seen minor tweaks. We'll go over those here in a second. And the Paladin also has access to the special Blessed Warrior option, which, again, we'll go into right now. Well, I'm sure you will, because you probably know more about it than me. But fighting styles have been adjusted now to be a special subtype of feat that any class can choose from if they have the fighting style class feature. Which, I mean,
nothing changes functionally really with that. It's more so the idea that fighting styles are now just all classes can get fighting styles, period.
Yeah.
Now, certain classes get special ones, such as Paladin in this case, or
Mhm.
Ranger getting Druidic Warrior, Paladin getting Blessed Warrior. So
Blessed
now
Warrior,
we're not having to
yep.
fight over, like, oh, let's say unarmed fighting, right? Well, Ranger doesn't get unarmed fighting, but Fighter does, and Paladin does. Like, why not all of these martial type classes that are like, well, Paladin, Ranger just being special flavors of Fighter, not, well, I shouldn't say special flavors, but like sharing features of a fighter that, you know, why can't they have these fighting styles? I feel like it is, as we see, is adding more options, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
At
absolutely.
least I think it's a good thing.
Anything that allows you to have diversity. Again, I think I've harped on it in every other 2024 change we've gone over. Limitations are bad. Anything that you can have diversity and you can have more options is just better because you can do so much more with that. Also, Blessed Warrior option for Paladin. You get 2
I usually think of it
cantrips.
like... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Blessed Warrior. Now you get 2 cleric cantrips. You get two spells that you pretty much get for free. That you can use, and cleric cantrips, from what I know, are pretty good. They're pretty decent for the most part. I think there's like 1 or 2 that aren't good. But that's from memory.
I think functionally there are some decent cleric cantrips. We're talking from a perspective of a paladin here. So if you're looking to have a concept of a, you know, supporty type paladin, because there's some control options here that will come up as well in some of these paladin changes, that there's some things you could benefit from using it. Like if you want something more ranged, then you have like Sacred Flame or Toll the Dead. You have, you know, Word of Radiance if you want a small like AoE type damage. There's Guidance. Guidance is always useful, right?
Guidance is always useful. It's just a team helper.
Yeah. So like, and you have Spare the Dying if you want to be, but you already have. You don't really need Spare the Dying as a paladin because you have, well, Lay on Hands, right? So you don't really need those type of things. But you know, you have some decent options as a paladin. But for the most part, with like Divine Smite, for instance, you're gonna want something that maybe probably is a bit more up in the melee section of things.
Right.
But of course, you can find use in just about all of this. You can build how you want to build, and you'll find some use in maybe some of these cantrips. So
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, again, we're talking from a perspective of the fighting style having just, it's now just simple. If you have a fighting style feature, you can pick from this list. It is no longer, well, this class gets these fighting styles, this one gets these fighting styles, and so on and so forth.
I think this is my grade for it. I think from a standpoint of diversity for all classes, it gets an A. However, it kind of gave uniqueness to Paladin, having only a certain fighting style that it gets. So personally, I'm gonna go for a B. Still good, but I like having a uniqueness in class.
Yeah, sure. Personally. I mean, we look from like the dichotomy of, as we mentioned before, is more options are better. But I'm saying A. I don't think you could take away. You only give them more options, and as we've stated with other A's, it makes sense that, well, no other option. Like if we're getting more options, it should always just be better.
Fair. I just like the uniqueness that comes with being not limited, but having certain things that only a certain class can have. But I'm also
Sure.
just
Yeah.
very picky, so you know. Now we get into the saucy part of Paladin. We now have Paladin's Smite, which means you always have Divine Smite spell prepared, which is very nice. You can use it on unarmed strikes, so really you could do a Paladin Monk mix, and I think that would be very funny.
I think it would be very funny. Yeah, I think that could work.
However, it now requires a bonus action. It's no longer just whenever I hit, I can use it. You need a bonus action for it. But you also still need to be able to hit it, a creature. You can only use it after you hit a creature. So, a little bit of a nerf because you need that bonus action, but also being able to have it always prepared. And using an unarmed strikes, it allows for multi-classing. You could put 2 points into Paladin. You could be a fighter, as like I said, a monk. So
I don't know a campaign that didn't allow punching as a paladin with Divine Smite, but of course we do want to simplify the rules as written. Of like,
right,
yeah, you want to smack someone and give them a blessed punch, you can do that. Go nuts.
yeah. I think Divine Smite definitely needed a bit of a hold back, a bit of a nerf. So having to use a bonus action for it, is very good. It's a very good balance change. Because being able to just hit, use Divine Smite, and then still use your bonus action for something was a bit strong because you are like in Levi's campaign, I believe I rolled a hit and I hit max damage on my great sword that I had at the time, plus my Divine Smite. I rolled max damage and it ended up being a 25. We were level 3 at the time. That is an excessive amount of damage for being level 3, but I'm happy with this change. I actually think this change is very, very good. Obviously tweaking it, I'm gonna give it an A. Personally.
I mean, we talk about this. Paladin Smite is the core feature, right? So nerfing the core feature of a class, I gotta give this a solid C.
Damn.
Mostly because, like, I would put it at F tier at this point because, again, we're taking away a core feature. And yeah, Divine Smite, it's not that I don't agree with the change, but functionally as a paladin, this is just a outright nerf. Being able to use an unarmed strikes rules as written is great. As we know, like, as I know, I've never had a campaign that doesn't allow punching someone and using Divine Smite. I think that makes sense, right? Make your gauntlets glow with divine energy and sock someone, right?
Yeah.
So of course I'm like,
ooh, you know what I just
get
realized?
it. It's cool.
You can't really multi-strike into monk because you need a bonus action for your other unarmed strike.
That's where it comes in. That's what I'm saying is it is still limiting. And we talk about the fact that you used to be able to Divine Smite multiple times in one turn, and now you can only do it once per turn. And you cannot stack, well, functionally, you cannot really stack other smite spells at the same time. So overall, Paladin's DPS has plummeted. Not to say that it isn't still good burst damage, but their overall like damage output that they had at this low level is nothing comparatively. You could cast Thunderous Smite, and you would be able to Divine Smite in the same turn, dealing 2d8 thunder damage and a bunch of radiant damage on top of that, right? This is big numbers we're getting at level 2. We no longer have that anymore. The other smite spells are going to feel less.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah. So basically, it's just a thing of you either have to go vertical paladin because you can't really multi-class with other classes because they want those bonus actions. Like I said, monk, fighter, especially for fighter, because they have action surge as their bonus action. Well, if you action surge, you can't. Your bonus action is gone. You just get another action.
No. Actually, as an action surge, you do just get an action. It is just, you do not cost anything to action surge.
Oh, I thought it was a bonus action.
No. Action surge is just, you can just use it. There is no bonus action required with that. But we're also looking from a perspective of, Paladin now feels like you want to keep going into it because it's not beneficial to dip out of it.
Right.
So, because, like, obviously you pick up fighter, action surge, super divine smite, crit fishing, so on and so forth. You have the idea of like a Christ, I can't think of it. Like a Powlock, right? That's gonna be great because you're just gonna, if you're only gonna get one attack for Divine Smite, add a Charisma modifier, this is going to help your damage output. But like you're looking at overall nerf to general output of how many attacks you can make effectively. So, but
okay,
it is what it is.
Now that I remember all of that, I'm gonna
I say C tier only because at least we get unarmed strikes now. We can punch, and unarmed fighting is a fighting style that is pretty okay. You can use a shield and a fist, and do like D6 strength damage. Not bad.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go C2. I'm gonna go C2 because I completely forgot about multi-classing and other classing.
All the multi-classing, all functioning, but exclusively as Paladin, it is still a nerf. As Paladin is often used as a dip class, not even a dip class, but as a class to have dips out of, it makes it also much worse. So this is why I give it a C, not a D or F. It still is like, okay, yeah, it's not
just kind of there
Paladin, but using a bonus action now takes away, like, think about it. You could attack, Divine Smite, Shield of Faith, or Shield of Faith, attack, whatever, go in, have extra C, so on and so forth. There's you get a lot more action economy. It's a pretty big hit to action economy for Paladins. So, but
yeah,
of course, this is what has gotten the internet in riots over Paladin. No more Divine Smite. It's like, we have Divine Smite, but this is like, can we get Divine Smite? We have Divine Smite at home. This is our Divine Smite at home.
No, this is Divine Smoke. Smoke.
Yeah, might as well be Smoke. Past tense.
This is Divine Smite, like, not even at home where you bought it. No, this is at home, you crafted it. This is, like, what your 2-year-old made in kindergarten. Wait, 2-year-old's not in kindergarten. I don't know.
Wait.
Whatever. But it's not even at home. It's bad. But we'll move on. Channel Divinity can now be used twice before a short or long rest. The Paladin's Divine Sense feature is now part of Channel Divinity and lasts for 10 minutes.
So, we take away from the thought of Divine Sense being a first level ability. Like, we now are 2 levels behind. Not that Divine Sense was more than just kind of like this cool roleplay aspect of being able to detect certain types of creatures, but this is also a 60-foot area, is what it used to be, at least. In this case, we're looking at what? Let's see here.
I don't think it says.
Let's see here. Channel Divinity it's now lasts for 10 minutes, but I don't think the range changes. In this case, before it was. How long was it? It just says, as an action, you open your awareness to detect such forces until the end of your next turn. That's what it is. So it is now a more often than not used as an out of combat bonus to like track down a creature. And 10 minutes is, in a D&D sense, is probably going to function much better for something that is just kind of a passive detection. So, and of course, within the same radius, you can also detect presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated for like the Hallow spell or some sort, right? And so having that 10-minute thing is like, now you can walk around like this graveyard and be like, oh no, this place was desecrated, so on and so forth. So it's cool. Why is it level 3? Kind of sucks in that case, because Divine Sense was kind of this 4-part to have, but now we do have like the options of Lay of Hands is better. We have spellcasting level 1 now, so we have options that can be used. Like, it does take away it being a level 3 ability now, but it being part of Channel Divinity also now makes it harder to use, because before it was a 1 plus your charisma modifier, so you could use it up to 6 times.
6 times, yeah.
But we also talk about the fact that it's end of your next turn. It's like 6 seconds versus 10 minutes,
which is basically all of combat.
Yeah, so more than all of combat. I don't know any combat that lasts more than 10 rounds. That's a minute. So, I think is good. I think it functionally makes it it lightens it to more of that, like, out of combat pool detection ability of evil monsters,
Right.
I like it. I'm gonna give it a solid B because we're all taking it away. We are taking away from first level and we're reducing the uses. But
I'm giving it a C because again we're taking away from it and we're limiting the uses, and I think that's inherently bad.
I just like it because it solidifies an identity better, so I would give it a B.
Fair,
but
that's fair.
I'll C plus. Let's say
C plus. Fair. You know what?
C
fair,
plus.
Fair. All right. Now we get into the subclasses of Paladin. So we only have 4, like Jay said earlier. We have Oath of Devotion. We have Oath of Glory, Oath of the Ancients, and Oath of Vengeance. We can go into those a little bit. We'll first go into Oath of Devotion, Jay.
Yeah, so Oath of Devotion. Paladins who swear Oath of Devotion will find their features lasting longer as Sacred Weapon and Holy Nimbus each now last 10 minutes instead of 1 minute. In addition to its longer duration, Holy Nimbus can be used again by spending a level 5 spell slot, rather than just being once per long rest. So we're talking this is pretty good. As a Paladin, you are getting 2 5th level spell slots at that 20th level that would give you Holy Nimbus, right? So you are able to use this if you have all 5th level spell slots. You're able to use this 3 times per long rest now rather than once. So tripling the uses, pretty good. Also, they have a new feature that replaces Purity of Spirit in the form of Smite of Protection, which grants you cover to you and your allies within your aura when you cast Divine Smite. So now we have Divine Smite being this like cool functional ability, right? That has more than just damage.
Yeah.
So cool effect. I think it allows the subclasses to feel a bit more diversified. And finally, Oath of Devotion Paladins get tweaked spells in the form of Shield of Faith and Aid, replacing Sanctuary and Restoration, respectively. Shield of Faith being a concentration for up to 1 minute of a +2 AC to a target of your choosing. 10 minutes, yes, 10 minutes, and a range of 60. So bonus action.
What was Sanctuary?
Sanctuary is a bonus action. It is a minute. And you are basically protecting a creature from damage. They cannot target the warded creature unless they pass a wisdom saving throw. On a fail, they have to choose a new creature. So it was very protective. It's great, awesome. Bonus action, just this person can no longer be targeted. But if they target something, they also lose that ability now. They cannot make any attacks. So if you're protecting a civilian that's trying to run away, it's great, it's cool. But in a combat sense, Sanctuary could be useful to avoid those like strong attacks of a creature that may be hunting down one of your other PCs. But I do think Shield of Faith just is better. You think about it from a perspective of a Paladin, that you are literally have a physical shield that you're granting something, creature. A shimmering field surrounds the creature. They are now harder to hit. So I think it like is functional. I mean, Sanctuary's good, but I feel like Shield of Faith has a bit more application. The only difference is that Sanctuary is a duration of 1 minute, while Shield of Faith is concentration. But you're gonna assume you're gonna assume a Paladin is going to have decent Constitution. So you know they're not going to struggle too much to concentrate on these things. Aid in this case just buffs you and up to 3 creatures, or I should say, buffs up to 3 creatures within range, including yourself, if you so choose. And each target gains a hit point maximum and a current hit point increase by 5 for 8 hours. So, and then for every 3rd level, if you increase that, you get an additional 5 for each spell slot above 2nd. So a 3rd level spell slot would give you 10 additional hit points, both maximum and current. So it's just a little bit of a, not quite a temporary HP boost, because the temporary hit points are better than this. Sorry, temporary hit points are worse than this, right? Because you can only have 1 instance of temporary hit points. Well, in this case, this is actual maximum health increase, so you can stack temporary hit points with this. Lesser Restoration is, I would argue, unnecessary for a Paladin, since they basically have that already built in as, like, lay on hands.
Right, yeah.
Other than the fact that they can't clear up blinded, deafened, or paralyzed condition, but there are some additions in the Paladin class that add some of that in. So taking away Lesser Restoration to give more of that like shielding, extra battle strong health probably feels better for a Paladin.
Absolutely.
So
let's grade.
I give that a solid A for the subclass.
Yeah, I was gonna say A because it's just
nothing you can really complain about. So
I think old
everything's pretty
Oath
good.
of Devotion was pretty mid, from what I
It's
remember
like
reading.
it's not bad. I would put it as like a B tier subclass.
Yeah.
There are Paladin subclasses that do better, do
So mid.
some more powerful things. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I won't call it mid, but yeah, sure, it could be mid.
Let's go to Oath of Glory.
Yeah. So Oath of Glory has its Aura of Alacrity feature improved. So
God
that
bless.
being the Oath of Glory Paladin is, let's see here, Oath to previous Aura of Alacrity. You emanate an aura that fills you and your companions with supernatural speed, allowing you to race across a battlefield in formation. Your walking speed increases by 10 feet. In addition, if you are not incapacitated, the walking speed of any ally who starts their turn within 5 feet of you increases by 10 feet until the end of that turn. Now, of course, first thing we can see, it is now just using the Aura of Protection to assume this, right? And the Aura of Protection for Paladins comes in the form of, well, a Aura of Protection, to put it in simple terms. But the Aura of Protection here is a 6th level ability whenever a creature within 10 feet of you. So it follows at 10 foot, and then at 18th level it follows down 30 feet. So it gets like a 5 foot bonus until 18th level, where before, with the Oath of Glory Paladin, the Aura of Alacrity only goes up to 10 feet at 18th level. So now it follows that like 5 feet extra, and then at 18th level it is now triple the range.
I also want to point out, by the way, Aura of Alacrity for old Oath of Glory Paladin, you got at 7th level. Yes, you're getting it at 3rd, from what I am assuming. Or are you still getting at 7th? I'm assuming it
sticks to the 7th.
Okay.
Only because there's not a specification that we're getting it any earlier. Okay. Paladin previous subclasses always get their Channel Divinity at 3rd level, and then at 7th level they get that additional aura. So I'm going to assume without specification that they'll probably maintain that at 7th level. So once they get that extra aura from Aura on top of Aura of Protection, they will have that additional range. And more so, the use of Aura of Protection, we're going to see that a bunch in a lot of these subclasses because there'll be better synergy between other class features. Yeah, as we saw from like Smite of Protection with Oath of Devotion, right? Where have some synergy with some of the class features. Oath of Glory Paladins also enjoy 1 hour duration on Peerless Athlete, which Peerless Athlete gave us a 10-minute advantage on athletics checks, acrobatics checks. You can carry, push, drag, and lift twice as much, and your distance in your long and high jumps increases by 10, right? So now we have a whole hour of this, right? So you can use this and do, whatever work you do, take a short rest, you now have it for another hour afterwards. So that extra, 6 times the duration is nice. And then a new oath spell called Yolande's Regal Presence. No idea what that spell does yet. Haven't looked into it, but yeah, we're looking at some new interesting spells for Paladin, and as Ranger got some, and yeah, so there's some interesting things.
Overall, this is kind of just a good buff. They are.
I gave it like a solid B. There's nothing really much changing here other than a little bit of a duration of a Channel Divinity and an additional radius that follows, frankly, what it should have followed. Of the aura is the auras are just synonymous with each other with range. They just add into the same aura.
It's probably that one Oaths Paladin subclass that I will least go if I play Paladin. It's kind of probably one that's towards the back of my mind. So. I would give it a C.
The Glory Paladin is just the typical hero, they drive a paladin to attempt heroics. So you think of it like, oh, I'm this strong hero, like, I will save you, whatever. But honestly, a lot of the abilities that it gives are very, very combat heavy.
Especially.
So we're looking at like the paladins spells that you get are Guiding Bolt, Heroism, Enhance Ability, Magic Weapon, Haste, Protection from Energy, Compulsion, Freedom of Movement, Commune, Flame Strike. Now, some of these spells are bad, but that's just about any subclass that does get a little bit of additional spells for part of the subclass. There's going to be some that aren't as good, right? But these do follow that. I am very fast. I am a strong athlete. I am powerful, right? So it follows that mindset. I like that. Giving that 1 hour duration really makes it feel like that identity. But again, nothing has really changed too much here.
No.
So, B, it's good. It's gotten better.
Still kind of mid.
I mean, I think the Oath of Glory Paladin is quite good, but I think
it's
it
just
is
boring.
Yeah, right. It is that idea of if you want to play the hero of the fantasy, you play an Oath of Glory Paladin. Simple.
Yeah,
you want the glory of the people, you know? Like if Will wasn't a warlock, he'd be a glory paladin.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right, going into probably one of my favorite ones. Just on paper, Oath of the Ancients.
Very cool.
Very, very fun. Oath of the Ancients, one of the biggest upgrades it's going to get is to the Undying Sentinel. Where the 2014 Oath of the Ancients Paladin would go 1 hit point instead of 0 when they would, get reduced. In the new version, they instantly regain a number of hit points equal to 3 times your Paladin level. Okay, so if you get reduced down to 0 instead of going back to up by 1, well, if you're, if you're 5th level, you go up to 15 HP points instead. I'm assuming I'm reading that right.
It says 3 times your paladin level, so that's 45. Yeah.
Oh,
so 3
right.
times your paladin level is 15th level. So you're getting 45 HP. So for a paladin of that level, that is probably about a third of your HP.
I don't think you're doing math right, by the way.
Instantly regains a number of hit points equal to 3 times your paladin level. Your paladin level, when you gain this is Oath of Ages Undying Sentinel. This is a 15th level ability they're talking about.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, this isn't 3rd level. This is 15th
level. Okay. I was like, wait, I thought this was their 7th level one. I was like, wait. Okay. That's 45 HP. Yeah.
That's a lot of HP. I mean, you're functioning on a paladin at 15th level. Let's say on average, a paladin gets, so it's D10. You have 6 per level. So 6 times 15 is 90. Yeah. If you have no constitution bonuses, you're dealing with half of your health. If you have constitution bonuses, then you're more looking at like maybe a third. Right. 40% of your health or so. So that's a pretty big buff, right? Like that's a huge amount of health.
Late game, you're gonna need that health too, because if you're reduced down to 1 HP at 15th level, okay,
it doesn't matter, you're gonna die anyway to some random AoE.
But getting 45 HP minimum, that's pretty good.
And you're already hard to hit anyway, so we make it also allows you to benefit the other allies with auras for longer because you're no longer incapacitated. So pretty good. Yeah. And Nature's Wrath now affects each creature, so that's a 15-foot. Before it was 10 feet, so a 5-foot increase. Pretty cool.
Which is a big difference, by the way, in D&D. 5 feet.
Yeah. And they have to now make a strength save instead of getting to choose between strength and dex. So creatures that are more dexterous aren't going to have a good time against this.
Yeah. Elder Champion is also getting some love, now requiring a bonus action instead of an action, and can be refreshed with a 5th level spell slot, which if you guys don't know what Elder Champion is, it's a 20th level thing that Oath of Ancients get. So at 20th level, you can assume the form of an ancient force of nature, taking on an appearance you choose. Like for example, your skin might turn green or take on a bark-like texture, and your hair might become leafy. Just very, very roleplay sense. But using your action, which is now going to be a bonus action, you undergo a transformation, and for a minute you get, at the start of your turn, you can regain 10 hit points. Very good. Whenever you cast a paladin spell that has the casting time of 1 action, you can cast it as a bonus action instead. Another addition, enemy creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on saving throws against your paladin spells and channel divinity options. You can't use it until you finish a long rest again, so once you use it, you have to go long rest, go sleep it off. I mean, as a bonus action instead of an action, very good.
And it does get refreshed with that 5th level spell
Fifth level
slot similar
spot.
to Oath
Right.
of Devotion here. So we are allowing this to be now used 3 times per long rest.
Which, again, at 20th level, I think I've always complained this about you. 20th level stuff, when you're a party at 20th level, you should feel borderline like a god, right?
I agree.
And some stuff, Ranger, at 20th level, you feel like, oh, that's cool. All right, whatever. You know what I mean?
I hit a little harder, I guess. Cool.
This you're able to really hone into that oath of ancients, right? You're taking on an ancient power that's going to infuse into you. So I don't know. I think this is an A change. I think this is wonderful.
I mean, like, there's nothing bad about this here. We're talking about there is a clarification here that I'm interested about because that's why. So this is I realized that Aura of Warding, which is its aura that you get from Sentinel, is already 10 to 30 feet from the aura, not compared to, which is very weird. Glory being the clarification of it was 5 and then 10 of all the auras. It's odd that that's the one that is.
Mm-hmm.
But of course now we are already matched up with the auras here, and having the additional uses here with, well, a bonus action and a 5th level spell slot, it's just making ancients better than it already was.
Which, I mean, you know, I'm always down for Oath of Ancients getting better because I love that subclass so much. So, I'll take it. What are you grading it?
I give it an A.
A, yeah. I mean, anything that buffs Paladin, I'm happy. Oath of Vengeance. Now, this is the one I'm playing in Levi's campaign, so I will grade this harshly. No, I won't. But, I mean, yes, I will. But anyways, Oath of Vengeance receives an action economy boost, God bless, with Vow of Enmity. No longer requiring a action, and instead can be applied when you attack.
So,
excuse me.
To clarify, Oath of Vengeance was already relatively strong functionally as a Paladin subclass. There's a lot of cool punishment type spells and whatnot that allow you to do some cool things. So, as a bonus action, you can utter a vow of enmity against a creature you can see within 10 feet using your channel affinity, and you have advantage against attack rolls against that creature for 1 minute or until it drops to 0 hit points or falls unconscious.
Yep.
Now we're talking it no longer requires an action, so you can just whack. And then because you whacked, and Divine Smite is a bonus action, you can now Divine Smite. But now you also have advantage on this attack, so you now have Divine Smite on top of your Vow of Enmity. So it no longer clashes with Divine Smite.
Which is
I guess they swap places because now Enmity doesn't use an action, and then Smite does use a bonus action. So,
so it makes sense. I made it a bonus action now. Still don't think it's good, but
they're at least not allowing it to have annoying overlaps.
Right.
So,
as well as the action economy boost, it also has increased range, like we talked about, and can be transferred when the target of your vow is reduced to 0 hit points. So you no longer. I'm assuming it'd have to be another bonus action, like before, or action.
It didn't have the ability for you to transfer. If it dropped to 0 hit points, it just went away. So that's what this is that so it now functions like Hunter's Mark, has you like, or not Hunter's Mark, Hex, I believe, is also another one. Maybe Hunter's Mark also does that, but Hex allows you to transfer to a new target if they fall to 0 hit points as a bonus action. So in this case, you can do that. So I assume, because it doesn't require an action or a bonus action in this case to like inspire your vow and enmity, I assume it allows you to just transfer it immediately.
I'm assuming. If we're just taking it at face value, I'm assuming.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Like Relentless Avenger and Avenging Angel also have boosts, with the former reducing the target speed to 0 and latter being able to be refreshed with a 5th level spell slot. So Relentless Avenger, if you guys don't know, 7th level thing you get at Oath of Vengeance. Your supernatural focus helps you close off a foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can move up to half your speed immediately after the attack and as part of the same reaction. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, which, I mean, already that's a pretty good thing, in my opinion. I don't know what the boost is, though, for Relentless Avenger, because it says reducing the target speed to 0, which you're not doing.
So before, you didn't reduce the target speed at all. You just got to make an opportunity attack and then move up to half of your movement speed as part of the same reaction. That movement speed doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So say a creature is running away, you can hit them, and then you can chase them if they keep trying to run. Now, in this case, they just stop. It's like Sentinel feet. It is like you now hit them, they just don't move anymore. Before they used to be able to run away and you could try to follow them up to half of your movement speed, but now in this case, they just don't move. They're staying right there. But it still allows you to reposition, assumingly.
Okay. I
So
don't know.
Avenging Angel, though, is
so they're basically
angel edginess.
So basically what they're doing is they're just flip-flopping what you can do. Instead of moving, they can't move, which I guess is better as a sense, because
I assume you can still move as a reaction when you do this. So now they no longer are running away; they are just stuck there. But,
which means, I guess you could circle them without provoking opportunity attack, from other creatures that might be around. But
repositioning.
Yeah, and if you guys didn't know what Avenging Angel is, Avenging Angel, so it's a 20th level thing that you get with Oath of Vengeance. You can assume the form of an angelic avenger. Using your action, you undergo transformation. For 1 hour, you gain the following benefits. Wings spread from your back and grant you the flying speed of 60. Pretty cool. Everyone loves wings. And also, you emulate an aura of menace. That's funny wording. I'm sorry. I love that. In a 30-foot radius. The first time any enemy creature enters the aura or starts its turn there during a battle, the creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you for a minute until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against frightened creatures have advantage. Once again, this is a feature that you would need long rest, but now it's the fact that you can refresh it with a 5th level spell slot.
So once again, following that transformation of paladins of 20 level abilities that we can now use 3 times.
Which, I mean, again, making 20th level things feel like you are impactful more than once, I will always be supportive of. So, we love this. I like this. So, I'm giving this as well an A. I'm giving Oath of Vengeance an A. Because you are... I mean... Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go.
I was going to say, it's removing the limitations, right? You're removing the vow of enmity, no longer requiring an action. You're removing that limitation from it. You are buffing the hit points of it. Right? Am I reading that right? Yes, you're allowing it to transfer, right? Yeah. You're allowing it to transfer so you don't have to just reapply it over and over. You can just I'm going to transfer this and this. And as well as buffing, again, 7th level thing where you feel stronger, and a 20th level thing. I love it. I think it's a phenomenal change.
As of what I gave with Glory, I believe I gave it, a B?
Glory, I think you gave a B, yeah.
Yeah, I would give it Vengeance for the same reasons, because again, we're talking from a perspective of a couple extra new things, not new things, but buffs to the current things, but nothing absurd, kind of falls in line with similar subclass changes here. So I would shoot it with a B. The main reason, is just because it's, alright, cool, Vow of Enmity works like it should have worked before.
Right. Well, I don't know what Wizards of the Coast was thinking in 2014, but at least they, turn on their brain 10 years later.
They gave us a wonderful thing of 5e, and now it is our playground.
My own mind is my own playground, okay? I don't want to hear it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
What the? Fine. We'll move on. We'll move on to Faithful Steed.
Hey, mine is also a playground. That's the unfortunate.
Faithful Steed, 5th level. Jay, what does it do now?
Paladins now always have a faithful steed on hand with the Find Steed spell, always prepared from level 5 onwards. This feature also grants a single free casting of the spell once per day, so you can summon your otherworldly steed. That's right, your mount has had an upgrade too, and with a brand new bespoke, hate that, stat block for the 2024 Find Steed spell. So the Find Steed, main reason why mounted combat in D&D was pretty meh is because a lot of the optional options for mounts, such as Find Steed, are going to have really low HP. Even the ones that aren't summonable steeds, like donkeys or horses, don't have a functional amount of HP to where they're going to maintain a usefulness throughout all levels, right? So, of course, with this, it's getting buffed. The stat block of Find Steed is much better, and you get this as a constant thing because I think there should be a class that has mounted combat as a core feature. And I think it's great that we have it to Paladin, the one that would be riding the noble knight riding on the horse, right?
Right.
So it's a great feature, solid A tier. It should have been like this before, and I love that they've done it here as well, because just giving the Find Steed spell, I would give it like a B, right? Because the Find Steed spell is all right. It gives the Paladin more flick, but in this case, Find Steed spell is much better than it was before. And also, we should mention, this steed is much better suited for combat and can regain hit points whenever you receive magical healing, so it now ties to you, giving it, in a sense, double the HP if you're using it in combat, right? Because it can now soak up all the damage that you're healing from as well. So,
I'm not
overall,
crazy,
solid
am
A
I?
for me.
So, they changed completely level 5 to level 19. Like, completely. I didn't even realize that.
You have to understand from this perspective here is that these are additional features. They would specify...
Oh, right, because they're not going to remove it unless they specify. So at level 5, you get Faithful Steed and extra attack.
Yes.
That
would be...
That's
a lot. The extra attack is
lot.
part, again, it's a default. Again, we talked about extra attack being a default, and extra attack is worse now with Paladin because you're not allowed to stack those Divine Smites. So it does allow us to sit in this, okay, Paladin can't be so bursty anymore, but now they have a horse. They have a permanent horse.
Right. I mean, still having an extra attack is always going to be strong because you're still,
Yeah, of course, you're doubling your damage, in theory.
But that's amazing. I like Faithful Steed also because I don't remember a single time where, other than, in my former campaign where we had dragons, I don't think we ever had mounts. And I don't remember any time that we've ever had mounts in my experience. So I like this, being able to make mounts feel like they're impactful. I give it an A as well, to be honest. So all right. So and then obviously Aura of Protection is still going to be there, which if you guys don't know, you live under a rock or you're new. So Aura of Protection, this isn't part of 2024, but this is still something you still get. Whether you are a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw. The creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of +1. You must be conscious for this. And at 18th level, this aura is increased to 30 feet instead of 10. So you still get that at 6th level. So
speaking of Aura of Courage, it is not mentioned here in the Paladin class features overview, but if you scroll up to the what's new for the 2024 Paladin, we can look at level 10. The Aura of Courage now ends the frightened condition if you enter the aura outright. There is no additional save. You just now no longer are frightened.
User-friendly cannot be frightened. Oh my gosh.
So in the new changes, you just end the frightened condition completely.
So you don't even have to make a saving throw on it. You just be like, hey Paladin, can you cast this? Yeah. All right. Step in, step out. Like.
And we also talked about auras as the Paladin. They're just constant. So as long as the Paladin is living and breathing, you just no longer are frightened within, 10 feet of the Paladin and 30 feet when we get to level 18 here. But as long as you're near a Paladin, you cannot be feared. And depending on, what subclass they are, you also have a couple other bonuses. But yeah, this is an insane buff. Giving advantage on saving throw is functionally, for those understanding the math here, rolling advantage is rolling 2 dice and taking the higher of the 2 when determining your attack roll, saving throw, or other roll, right? In the circumstance of a advantage is just mathematically a +5 to the roll, at least chance-wise. It adds a +5 basically to your roll. In this case, you don't have to worry about, especially if, let's say, a creature has wisdom as its dump stat. Whereas often a save that you use as, which often I would not recommend having wisdom use dump stat, but in the case that wisdom is, and wisdom is often a saving throw that's associated with frightened condition, as a mental will, you don't have to roll it anymore when you probably would still struggle, especially in later game when, say, a red dragon has a huge DC for a fear attack. You no longer have to worry about it. There is no frightened condition. So this really scales extremely well with some of the higher end and higher CR creatures.
All right. What's next? I lost my place. Sorry.
No, you're good. A quick note, Radiant Strikes was used to be improved Divine Smite, now Divine Smite's a spell, so they get rid of it. So it's just Radiant Strikes is the same thing as it was before, but now it also functions as unarmed strike. Functions like Divine Smite, nothing changing there. But
Again,
Abjure Foes is the actual next feature.
I still don't think you're multi-classing with Paladin. Like new Paladin, I still don't think you're multi-classing.
You can obviously take a Hexblade dip, right? That's crazy. You could still play a Sorkadin if you want to play a Sorkadin. Go nuts, because you're not worried about... You're having more of that, defensive control that a Paladin has now, because you're not having to worry about, well, let me just Divine Smite burst, right? So, you're giving a little bit, you're taking away the bonus action that maybe some classes have, but, you have a couple other options to go with it. I think it changes up how Paladins are going to multi-class, and I do think it discourages some people multi-classing out of Paladin, but I think it can definitely work with some of the buffs that have also happened.
Yeah. I got so excited for Monk Paladin, and now I'm disappointed, but we moved.
Yeah, no Flurry of Blows, Divine Smite. I'm sorry.
They probably thought about
it was much better without the changes.
But all right, so next is going to be Abjure Foes, actually.
Yeah.
This new Paladin feature...
Or of Courage, that was 10, but we're going a little back one level real quick. Sorry about that.
Bring it back.
Bring it back now, y'all.
This new Paladin feature allows you to spend your Channel Divinity to target a number of creatures equal to your Charisma modifier and force them to make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature is frightened by you, and while frightened this way, is limited to only moving, taking an action, or a bonus action on their turn. I mean, it's a very powerful way to control the battlefield, just having a fear. I don't think this is... Yeah, this is a new thing that they're going to be adding, so...
Gives you an additional option.
Yeah. I mean, this is just... They're adding something that allows you to have more CC, crowd control, in combat. And, I mean, I like it. It's alright. Can't complain about having more CC as a Paladin.
Yeah, and you're thinking, okay, let's say you're Paladin level 9. You just got 2 ability score improvements. You may have, a 16 in Charisma. Your strength is maxed.
Yeah.
So we're talking, 3 enemies here now have to make wisdom saves. If they fail their wisdom saves, they're frightened and are super limited in what they can do each turn.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's huge. That's great control. We're talking about, though, that this is also using your Channel Divinity, which now you do have an additional use per short or long rest, but you are also sharing those uses with your subclass, and you're also sharing that with Divine Sense.
Which, I don't even use my Channel Divinity right now that much, but I'm also only level 4, so I guess there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
But, moving on to Restoring Touch. So this is a new thing also being added. Restore Touch, another new feature for this. Restore Touch gives you an alternate use for your Lay on Hand points, which is always nice because sometimes Lay on Hand feels like shit late game. I wouldn't know, but I only hear from it. So now you can choose to remove one condition from a list of options and can do this for multiple conditions if you spend enough hit points. Now, I'm curious, what is the list of options?
This is where I think this is what I mentioned earlier when we were talking about list restoration being removed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have lay on hands. This gets to the point where now we're thinking about the list restoration uses, right?
Yeah.
Where in this case, lay on hands is going to replace the list restoration. Now, of course, the list of options isn't listed well here, but we can kind of assume that it would be of a similar mind to list restoration, if not more options, because this is level 14 we're talking about. They're going to be probably a little bit more harsher features. So, or conditions, not features, conditions.
In a way, you took away lesser restoration, which, you know, whatever, because it was useful, but it wasn't really that useful, depending on your DM and your campaign, giving out those types of conditions, poisons, whatever. So, putting it to level 14, and I'm assuming having it be stronger, because now you can alternate between lay on hands and restoring touch. I like it. It's just kind of, in my opinion, it's just kind of there. It's the same as lesser restoration, where it's just cool. Yeah, you can do multiple conditions if you spend hit points, though, which isn't my favorite thing, because you have to spend health for conditions, but I'm gonna personally give it C. That might be a little harsh, but
what, just restoring touch as a C?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just kind of there, you know what I mean?
We're talking about from the perspective just to follow the continuity of some of the other rankings we have given.
Right.
B is where it sits, as it is not much of a change, but it's still a buff, right? This is a new feature. This is something better. It gives the lay on hands a bit more versatility. Nothing about this is bad. C kind of goes to some of the nerfs, such as like Divine Smite, right?
No,
where, yeah, you get on
D and F would go
like,
through nerfs. C is just when I think C, I'm just thinking
mid.
All right, this is kind of just that's what it's mid. It's kind of average. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I can't see myself using this. Like I'm not gonna get excited at 14th level now that I have this. You know what I mean?
Right, because you're probably dealing with someone else in your party that may have something of a stronger feature, right?
Yeah.
But again, we look at Lay on Hands that has 5 times your Paladin level, so at level 14 you're dealing with 70 HP on your Lay on Hands. So you're able to probably clear up more conditions, and on top of that, as a Paladin, you may have other options for spells that could stack upon that to clear more and more conditions. So it takes away from the use of spell slots. Now you can focus on using Divine Smite a little bit more. Even though, well, you can use Divine Smite less. But you could use Divine Smite more, because you're casting spells less.
Exactly.
You see? That's why I give it a B. It's not a crazy change, but it's a good one.
Fair. Also, what I'm noticing from Paladin 2014 and now Paladin, it's just flip-flopping, is what I'm noticing. It's just flip-flopping, like, I shouldn't say flip-flopping. It's just like rearranging the order of things. It's really what I'm looking at. Other than Divine Smite or Paladin Smite now, obviously being a pretty big gut-punching thing, but it's just kind of moving stuff around.
From a DM perspective, I think Divine Smite is healthier now, because power gaming with Paladin, just super burst, isn't as good.
And especially too, we're gonna take a little step back too. Improved Divine Smite at 11th level, being able to do an extra 1d8. I had to make sure I did my reading on what it does, but an extra 1d8 at 11th level. Okay, that does now a lot of damage. A lot of damage. So I understand the nerfs, but I'm still sad.
Yeah, but
also, at 19th level, the last thing that's going to be added, of course, is I'm noticing a trend, by the way. 19th level, you get an epic boon. I think, honestly, at some point we should go over the boons just to see what there are.
Yeah, we can definitely find a list of boons and just kind of start talking about them and different options we can think about.
But at 19th level now, you get a boon, which will make you more epic. in some sort on whatever boon you take. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That's all the changes, unless there's hidden ones that I. No more hidden ones from Paladin. Overall, what do you want to grade it?
And overall, like let's just compare to some other subclass changes that we've gone through today, or today in this series. So we're looking at Ranger being a D tier change, right? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm crazy. The Ranger changes were horrible overall, terrible nerfs.
No, they
right?
were. They were very terrible.
We're looking at Wizard. Yeah, limitations on subclasses, but overall, nothing changed too much with Wizard in like a substantial way.
Other than the spells early game, like spell slots. I mean,
right. I'm looking at like a C plus for Wizard changes. Nothing was really that crazy. It's whatever. There's just some more streamlined things, and they get a little expertise now. Awesome, great. Nothing huge. Nothing's really going to change how my Wizard works if I play one. Paladin, on the other hand, is pretty drastic in how you're going to play one, and so I mean the changes, in my opinion, feel better. Divine Smite sucks, right? I'm sorry, like, obviously, but as a DM, this does feel a bit more balanced because Divine Smite, crit fishing, so on and so forth, they get a bit obnoxious. Pal-Locks have insane damage. In this case, it is more balanced, and they have more versatility with their auras, with their Channel Divinity, with their variety of new spells that are coming up, their Faithful Steed, Abjure Foes is good, like, Aura of Courage is infinitely better. Like, I'm gonna give these Paladin changes, like, a B+, I think. Like, I want it, obviously the Divine Smite change kind of brings it down a little bit, but like overall, these are some really nice changes to see for a Paladin. So I think it makes me feel more likely to play a Paladin in this style. I like it.
Yes. It's not just a, hey, your whole identity is hit Divine Smite, hit Divine Smite, yeah. And I honestly think I'm gonna agree with you with that B+. I think it's very close. If Divine Smite wasn't changed, but it definitely needed to be changed. That's the best part. It needed to be changed. But if it wasn't changed, I'd probably give it to an A because it'd be it would probably be the best class, like overall, just for maybe
out of the changes. Yeah, I feel like it's got the best changes so far. But we have not gotten to Monk yet, so we will definitely want to go through that eventually and show you guys some of the crazy changes I think that I've heard about with Monk. There's some monks are let's say powerful.
Oh boy. ESRB 2.0?
These fists are rated G for gods.
G for gods, that's funny. But yeah, overall I think, I think a B is kind of right. I probably honestly might play another Paladin at some point with these changes specifically, and not play the 2014 one, because I know for Wizard especially, I'm going to keep playing the 2014 one as long as I talk to my DM. But yeah, this is the first change I think I've liked that I would implement. So,
yeah. I mean, I like these changes, truly. I think a lot of these are good changes of Paladin. Divine Smite, I even feel like is needed, albeit not as fun.
It's definitely not as fun, but 100% needed because, again, like you said, crit fishing. But enough rambling about Paladin. Before we wrap up for the day, night, evening, whenever you're watching, Jay, what else do we have going on currently on the channel that just got released?
So, as of a few days ago, we did start our episode 1 of our new Baldur's Gate 3 Let's Play. We've got a couple. We're gonna do episodes every Saturday, so you guys have to look forward to a Monday podcast as well as a Saturday Let's Play. So, we're gonna play a couple games. We'll play a little bit here and there. We're gonna play through. The episode should be about half hour to 45 minutes. So, trying to keep below the podcast durations because we understand watching something versus listening to something is a little bit different. But we definitely want to. We got those for Saturdays. We love Baldur's Gate, of course, and we're playing. I mean, I'm playing a Paladin. Because I played like 10 minutes of a Paladin after I left what's the main player ship or whatever after that. I played a Paladin for a little bit, never really continued it because I broke my oath within the first dialogue option.
I remember you talking about that. That was super funny.
Yeah, so that wasn't great, but in this case, I'm playing an Oath of Vengeance Paladin, not Oath of Ancients, and I'm playing a Wood Elf.
Yeah.
So probably gonna multi-class into Warlock, Pact of Blade maybe, multi-class into Sorcerer for some fun little like bursty burst, and then but Lucas, you can talk about your character.
My character, I'm gonna save for you guys to go watch, and then once you guys go watch it, leave a comment on this video and tell me what character I am. Get a little incentive, but we'll talk about releasing more episodes other than just one every Saturday. We might do more depending on how much you guys like it. So if you guys like it, like everything, comment on everything. Do a somersault in the comments if you want. I don't know how you do that, but we ball.
I think a big one as well. We may also live stream some of our Baldur's Gate gameplay. And that it was the VOD on the channel at some point.
That could be fun. Yeah,
Not saying it's soon, but definitely could be a fun little engagement for you guys if you guys really like it. We'll get a stream in a while when that does happen. But yeah, we are starting to make some shorts.
So
the short up right now is a little sneak peek into the next Baldur's Gate episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
something that
you guys should hopefully
Jay
find that pretty funny.
Unfortunately did.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's purely calculated.
Purely calculated, for sure. All right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up, Jay. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment,
subscribe. So much for watching.
All that. If you like it, share with your friends. If you don't like it, share with your friends. So, see you guys next episode. Peace.
Peace.